controller again. Where would I have put it? Ah. I drank a lot of ginger ale to get through Antichamber, though I love that game. I would like to play Antichamber. There are There are a lot of things that I like I want to play. I have long-term goals of playing a lot of things, but currently like, my capability to game is pretty limited. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to the up place. Yeah, so I do. What was the literacy? Where did it go? Oh, let's write it back in chat. What gaming has to teach us about learning and literacy? Yes, that's on my list of things to read. I'm still working on Game Design Workshop. You know, partially because it's a textbook. Like, the first part I flew through, but I've been reading this book for months, and, like, I'm at, like, the practical part now, which, being a person who is not actually, like, creating and playtesting games is, you know, a little bit more difficult to get through, because there's no practical application for me right now. And yes, Tracy's book. And yeah, it is excellent. And I just within the first chapter, there was so much that I was like, all of my presumptions are so wrong. And I have learned so much, and like so much of just the way that I look at games, and the kind of questions that I ask, the kind of like. If you wanted to, you could probably like look back at play-by-play VODs and tell like what chapter of the book I'm on, because I'm asking questions about like there was a like chapter that discussed feedback loops, and then immediately like the next thing, the next play-by-play, I was like, hey, let's talk about feedback loops, this thing that I just read about. What else? I'm sure there are other examples where it's like, I'm gonna apply the thing that I literally just read about in this discussion. And, but yeah, so I'm trying to get to a point where I can recognize like what's the most salient thing in the discussion. Like, what should I be like being able to pick and choose topics, and not just like the thing that the thing that I just read most recently is the thing that I'm going to ask about. But that was so bad. Why am I so bad at this? I don't think small children are. He was. That was, I think, the first time that Sean, because I noticed these things, the first time that Sean just, like, grinned at a question that I asked. And I felt so proud. I was like, God, I'm such an asker of good questions. Look at me ask these good questions. But yeah. So I'm trying. One of my goals, like, so we discussed in the stream before, like how important I feel it is to discuss interactive media, just in general, with a lot of the same vocabulary that we use to talk about games specifically. So, like, I want to be able to talk I want to be able to talk about like works of fiction that are published in novels or in books, and use like game design vocabulary to talk about those things. And so that's part of why I'm reading these books, and part of why I'm in the play-by-play chat. And like I'm slowly getting there, but that's really important to me. You went squee because he's got a dreamy grin, right? Partially, I think there's also like, I don't know, like just like the affirmation of somebody like who you have esteem for, being like that, you're good job, like that is incredibly validating. And like, you know, they say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Like, the way to my heart is totally just like through telling me that I am smart. Like, you will be like my best friend forever if you're just like, you know what, you're super smart. Look at how smart you are. And it's on the ground. Also groans. I feel bad and awesome when an answer starts with a groan. Yeah. I also, one of the things that I like to ask good questions. It's important to me to ask good questions, but I also really like, and this is something that's awesome about this community, because like I've had similar experiences in chat and other people's streams. I've had similar experiences with Sunday Game Club. Like, what I really want most of the time, not all of it, some of the time, I want the response to my question to be like a, well, and then to explain to me why it's a bad question or would lead to like an unproductive discussion. Like, I love that, because like I can learn a lot from asking bad questions. I can learn what a bad question is, and like, so that's important to me. I should have turned that thing into a flower. Should have flowered it. So, yeah, like there are some questions that I've asked that Sean's response is, and like that, those are great responses for me, because I just jumped into the water. Like, I look for those responses too, because like those are great learning experiences for me. Like, what was a good one? Oh, like in Heroine's Quest, when I was like, yeah, this is totally like the man without a name, just a super common trope. And he's like, well, but is it? If we're talking about interactive media, is that an accurate statement you just made? And that was great, because like I immediately recognized like I can't use all of the same tools that I used to analyze static or passive media. Like, I can't. It's not okay to assume that those are the same. There's overlap, certainly. But they're not the same thing. And so if I work from a like supposition that those are the same thing, which I kind of did for a while, you know, it's not going to be a particularly productive discussion. And so like that was it was great. But yeah, no, the dragon question I think is super great. I answered it in my stream last time. I think it's like it's become a really good discussion point. You're killing your cat? You were starving your cat to death? Dang! Why would you do? Jeez. Fluffle? Fluffles? I don't know what this cat is, but I'm okay with it. Maybe I want to go up here first. No, I want to go the other way. Cats will do that. Cats are jerks. I just want to acknowledge again, like, how much better this dress is from everything else. Like, look at these dresses. Look at these dresses. These two, is totally unacceptable. This one's okay. But, yeah, the green one, that's a dress worth unlocking. He used devious tactics to get chicken. Ugh. So I don't eat meat at home. Like, that started when I first moved out. And I was like 18, 19, whatever. Just because I was poor and meat is expensive. But it's the thing that I've continued, like, all of my life up to this point. Like, I just don't buy meat for my house. And I don't eat out very much, so I'm like a functional vegetarian. But, so, like, my dog is not super into whatever's going on with the food most of the time. But I gave him some sweet potatoes one day. Like, I don't buy treats anymore. I just buy sweet potatoes and cut them up into pieces. And he flips his shit. Like, his favorite thing in the world is sweet potatoes. Nope. No. Oh. Can't believe there aren't more costumes. I mean, come on, dress up is the best. Yeah. It's a little bit disappointing. Like, it seems very in the nature of this game to have... No. To have more dresses. But... Yes, I have a puppy. I don't talk about him much, because... I don't know. I don't talk about him much. Partially because he's... his name is Ram. And people find it difficult to pronounce. And... So it's a little awkward for me to say, like, my dog, my dog, my dog, my dog, rather than Ram. But when I call my dog by name, then people, I don't know, have things to say, or like feel it's spelled R-A-M, but it's pronounced like in Hindi. Because when I got him, so I had a coworker who had rat terrier puppies. He was one of them. And he, so I went over to get him, and I had been listening to Ram, the Paul McCartney album, a lot. But when I went to pick him up, I was listening to, I don't remember, one of George Harrison's weird sitar heavy Beatles songs. I I don't remember which one, and he howled all the way home. Like, he was just whiny and whiny and whiny, but it, like, seemed in tune with, like, the sitar. And so I was like, well, I'll give him an Indian name. But I didn't want to just give him an Indian name. I wanted it to be, you know, I don't know. I wanted there to be multiple interpretations of his name. So, you know, it could be Ram like the animal. It could be Ram like the record, which is like the animal. It could be like the verb. Could be, you know, random access memory. And so I really liked that. But chiefly, he was so named because his fucking fucker. Because of his noise making with the sitars. So therefore it is Ram. So like my friends mostly call him Rum, which is fine too. Yeah, I did it. Yes, he's the hero of the Ramayana, and he's like for some Hindus, kind of a god, an avatar. Winlock, I've fallen for you, sweet princess. Why don't you do the same for me? I see what he did there. Whoa, I guess she did. Avoid the rolling snowball. Use the wand to melt the ice blocks to clear the path. Oh, I could do that. Oh, maybe I can't do that. Oh, smushed. He is not awake. He is not getting out. He does not need to learn that 11:19 in the PM is an appropriate time for him to be out and about. Yeah. But yeah, like I really like the story of Ram and Sita and Ravan and all that. Like I good stories. Demand pics at least in the near future. I can probably do that. I kind of have photography homework anyway. My friends are the editors of a publication, an online poetry publication, and I do the photography for it. And there's a new issue coming out in September, and they want me to have photographs for them by the end of this month, which is August. So I have not watched Sita Sings the Blues. I have not heard of Sita Sings the Blues. Have you watched Raavan? Raavan? It was on Netflix. It's super good. It's a like modern retelling of the part where it's yeah, like the Sita part and with her kidnapping and whatever. But it was like really poorly reviewed. Like almost started riots in India when it came out because like it's not even sympathetic, but like is not completely negative about Raavan. So the like yeah, but it's good. It's really good. And the singing and dancing and everything feels natural, which is strange for me to say with an Indian movie. That's not usually the case for me. We've rescheduled all the people of the kingdom. Rescheduled? I don't think that's what it said. Now it's up to you to face Winlock and defeat him once and for all. Once -and -for -all. You finally come to be my bride. No way, Winlock. I've come to break your wicked spell. Don't you know that my magic is stronger? Allow me to demonstrate. No. God damn it. My life is all about my mouth right now. I still didn't hit him? What the fuck? Maybe I need to wait until he's charging. Yay, I did it. Yeah. Oh, I only have one heart left. Yeah, the boss fights are really leisurely. And this is the first one, being the final one, that has not told you explicitly at the very... No! It was mutual destruction. That has not told you explicitly, like, how to destroy him at the outset. Though this is the same mechanic that was used on the first fight, so... Is he under there? No? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I'm gonna fail again. Yeah, hit him. I take damage if I collide with him. I'm just shockingly just not very good at this game. So, how is it that your wand of light can defeat me so? I must be losing my touch. No bother. I will show you that my wand is more powerful. Uh-oh, is this phase 2? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, there's multiple phases. I may or may not actually be able to do this. Oh, dang it. Oh, fuck. So it's just watch which one he was last. Yes. Phase 2 done. This can't be. You freed all my prisoners and defeated my magic. I'm getting the feeling you don't want to be my bride after all. I thought you'd never understand. Now be gone, Winlock. Fat shaming is not allowed in this stream. Well, the wand made me be able to get on the chandelier, so... We're so happy you've returned safely. You've saved all of us and defeated Winlock once and for all. There's one last thing that I must do. Bam! My sister's a sister. Thank you, sister, for all your help. Now we can get back to the party. Party? It's still your birthday, isn't it? Happy birthday, Annika! She jumps up and down excitedly. This is a game about how some men won't take no for an answer. And it is, like... So I was expecting to have, like, negative things to say about the gender roles and stuff. But no, I think that this is a, like, somewhat decent lesson. Like, ideally, I would want... well, I guess she does ask for help. I would want her to say no, and then when he persists, like, to maybe be a little bit more active. But I guess she's, like, running around the world and, like, destroying him with a wand. So that is pretty active. The only way to dissuade those kinds of guys is to drop chandeliers on them, apparently. Yeah, no, it was pretty decent. I am pleasantly surprised. This is it's actually a pretty decent experience. So thanks for playing. It gives me a thanks for playing. And now we're back at the beginning. So I'm gonna... I wish it would... Let's do the restart so I can get it back to the Barbie. There we go. And I can put me... Reorder that. I'll go up. And then I'm just me and the Barbie. Me and the Barbie. Nope, wrong one. Click on that one. There, now isn't that a pretty picture? So I don't know, guys. Do you have any things that you want to discuss about this? Like I said, just all around, I am pleasantly surprised by this. And that's, you know, as mainstream as it gets. You know, this was released for a major handheld console. I have to keep reminding myself that the premise of the game going in is that the target audience likes dresses and princesses and such. Yeah, and I like that is, again, like, everything that I want to take issue with in the game is something that like I really can like is defensible, like, because that comes from the source material. Like, the game developers didn't have a choice in how the characters were portrayed in the movie that this is a sequel to. They didn't have a choice in what the plot of the movie was. They did have a choice in what the plot of this game was. And so having this guy who is relentlessly pursuing our protagonist, like, that was their decision. I don't know if that existed. Some form of that, I think, existed in the film. Again, like, not familiar with it. But yeah, like, I think that everything that the designers, that the developers got to choose was good. They made good decisions in a game like that addresses just kind of gaming literacy, like how things work like that. I'm a little bit disappointed that the puzzles where you mess with blocks to get a dress, like, they didn't increase in complexity. The first one was just get to the dress. The second one was make stairs out of these blocks to get to the dress. I expected there to be increasing difficulty and complexity with those, and I'm disappointed that that didn't happen, because I thought that was a great opportunity. But yeah, kind of side-eye the villain's motivation being marriage, but I guess that's not a terrible lesson, all things considered. I prefer this with the guy being super villain than the same narrative with the guy being shown as a romantic at the end. Yes. Yeah. Kind of the I point to Hunger Games all the time now because it feels relevant, like culturally. But yeah, tale as old as time. Like, the dude is just persistent and waits around for long enough. And this guy, like, I couldn't have seen that happening in this game, like, just from the get-go, because it's, he's portrayed so negatively, and I figured this was going to be a pretty brief game because it's, you know, a Game Boy Advance game, but, yeah, like, that's a thing that can be done with this story, so this kind of flips that on its head, so that's nice. Well, I tend to get irritated with the assumption that all girls like pink and princesses. I hate the name of Princess Frieza and others. I don't know what... Oh, Princess Free Zone, not Princess Free Zone. Free Zone is a song by Janet Jackson, which is a really good song. I mean, not a really good song. It's Janet Jackson. But that, like, Velvet Rope, the album that it comes from, was one of the first CDs that I purchased for myself. And there's boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets cute girl back. And then, you know, it's turned around, girl meets boy, etc. And then there's a verse in there that's boy meets boy, boy loses boy, boy gets cute boy back. And, like, that was kind of, I don't know, foundational for me, in a weird way. That's not, I mean, it's slightly relevant, I guess. It took me a while to find the exact name. I was running off your thing about the target audience being into pink and princesses and not looking down on that. Yeah, so this is something that I, like, there are certainly cultural constructs, but I think that there is also something to be said for natural proclivity. I keep touching my face. So I recently watched again the Celluloid Closet because Cage Tiger had mentioned it in a stream, and I was like, F yeah, I need to watch that. And, like, one of the things that really impresses me with that is it goes back to, like, the early days of cinema, and we don't have a lot of, like, record or history of, like, what gay men were like at the time, of what gay women were like at the time. And no, it's fine. Creepy's that's not, it's not super creepy. But so, like, the idea that in silent films, the pansy, I think maybe that's what they call it in the film, but that, like, that stereotype was present in culture. Like, so you know that there were men who were behaving that way. And there was not, like, a huge gay culture at the time, so this is their natural proclivity. Like, this is how they naturally behaved. Like, there is that impulse. Like, effeminate men exist because effeminate men exist. And my mother is not girly, is not pink and purple and princesses. My sister is also not that way. So I grew up kind of thinking along the same lines of, like, I'm not an effeminate man, and so I thought that effeminacy in men in general, and specifically in gay men, was just total affectation. Like, it was just trying to fit into this culture that you feel like you're supposed to fit into. And I felt that same way about women and, you know, pretty things. Many of my best friends, my closest friends, are women at this point, and, like, makeup wearing women, like, not something that I was familiar with or comfortable with. And I've learned a lot over the last 10 years or whatever about just, like, the natural proclivity toward those feminine things. Like, it's a natural thing, and, like, not judging that in and of itself has been difficult for me, but it's something that I've worked on. And, like, I still have that impulse, and it was something that I was fighting all through the beginning of the game until the game started to impress me, was fighting the idea of, like, just just mocking its pinkness. Like, I really wanted to just mock its pinkness. But I'll say Legally Blonde is okay. I really like Clueless, which plays with some of that stuff. Jetlag says, also, I tend to be middle of the road. As a kid, I liked Barbies, princesses, and Pink fine. But I also like science, baseball, and running around outside. Kelso says, I love wearing makeup, and I love that it's socially acceptable for me to paint my face up however the hell I want. Kate Shagger says, it's also important to remember that everyone is a mix of things that do and do not fit into traditional categories. No one is entirely one or the other. Yeah. Barbies, but also motherfucking dinosaurs. Yeah. Yeah, and so I think that, you know, for a game aimed at very young girls, like, you've got very young people. They're maybe men, boys playing this game, but the target demographic is young girls. And, like, not only is it young girls, like, this is not a game that is designed to attract a new audience. It's not a game that is out there just to be a game on its own, like, unto its own. It is tied not only to, like, the Barbie property, but to a specific direct-to-video film in the Barbie canon. So I forgive it completely for being so, like, balls to the wall with the pink and the dresses and stuff, because, like, that's just catering to the demographic that, like, you know, you're targeting. Like, you know, I mean, I think of another good example. Well, I mean, so, like, in modern, I don't want to say modern warfare, we're, like, referring to a specific game, but, like, those types of first-person shooters that are, you know, set in contemporary military campaigns, you can pretty much guarantee that the person who is playing a campaign in Afghanistan, you know, in 2004, excuse me, a person who is, you know, purchasing or playing a game that is a first-person shooter where you run campaigns from Afghanistan in 2004, that person is going to feel a certain way about, you know, the politics of the situation or ethics or whatever. So it's appropriate, I think, to put some things in to, like, cater to that demographic. And I don't think that that's like a shameful selling out move, you know. I wish that there were pacifists making games, or people who like, wanted to represent the complexity of the situation, and, like, I wish that they were making games to be successful, like, to get in, like, under the skin of those gamers. But yeah, but but it is what it is. Like, these are business decisions. Like, a game like this is trying to make money, and it's trying to make money off of a certain group, and it's going to cater to them. So, like, I totally forgive the pinkness. Yeah, like, I'm still astonished by, like, how legitimate this game is. I understand that getting under the skin was the point of the game Spec Ops: The Line. That's interesting. I have sort of talking out of my ass with this stuff because, like, I don't have a whole lot of familiarity. In that it was actually about how horrifying warfare is, but dressed up as a modern shooter. I don't think it was super well executed in Spec Ops. So here's a thing that was discussed in, I think it was Sean's play of, Hotline Miami, where there was the discussion of, like, is this glorifying violence, or is it admonishing violence, and his response was that like it has to glorify violence to make its point, and is really difficult to like hew close enough to the bone like to make that happen. And so yeah, so like I think that it's really difficult like to make a game or a movie like portray violence in such a way to turn people off of it, because you risk just really making people enjoy like this horror. And that was, I think it was The Hills Have Eyes. It was a bunch of hippies made this horror movie with the idea that like we're gonna make a movie that's just so horrifying that people are gonna be pacifists afterward, and it didn't work. Like it was not successful in that aim. It's like successful financially and like artistically in other ways. And it's an enduring film, but it's not. It didn't do what they wanted it to do. So, yeah. Forced you into shitty situations and was like, why did you do that? Yeah. So, and then here's another thing. Like, I'm interested. I really like Sunday Game Club and the game decisions, like what we play on Sunday Game Club. I like that they're, popular games. I love the indie games of play-by-play. But I've been thinking that, like, one of the struggles with indie games, it seems like it's art for artists. And I think at their best, like, games can be like murals, like in muralism in Mexico that started because all of these painters, they were like, how do we make art for the proletariat? How do we make art for the people? We want to educate the people. We want to an extent, indoctrinate the people. But we're artists. Like, what is our role in society? And what they came to was making murals that depict historical scenes and historical characters in very public places so that everybody could see them. And, frescoes and stuff so that they're semi-permanent. You might be tempted to say, like, totally permanent. And, like, that's great. Like, using a popular medium to do things and to change things. Like, I think that game developers just at their absolute zenith, which is not necessarily something that's being articulated that well right now. Like, I would love to see, to put it like really cruelly, like really intelligent artistic people making games for mouth breathers that like do these things, that are daring in these ways. And I think that can happen, and that maybe will happen, and that excites me. But, I think that there's kind of a dearth of that because of the way that the industry is right now. But I think that there's going to be a sea change someday soon. Maybe not super soon, but someday. So I tweeted about this, and apparently there's another Barbie game where she's a secret agent. That sounds excellent. So many Barbie games. Yeah. We may return for more Barbie games, because yeah, and I wonder if it's the same folks responsible. This tells me nothing. Vivendi Universal Games. If it's Vivendi Universal Games responsible for the secret agent one, I would play. Oh, I'm over it. Yeah. Vivendi Universal Games. I could go there. There you go. That's a good place for me. Satan's Fingers plays Barbie games. Yeah, I kind of want to keep the tag like Satan's Fingers calls the horse Susan. Just because it's nerdier. If I'm being honest, it's a good nerdy reference, and I think it touches on like one of the things that I really appreciate is, you know, respecting like others' wishes and requests of like how to address them, stuff like that, and not just in names and pronouns, but like how to interact with someone else's culture and all that stuff. You only want people in the stream who get Doctor Who references. I want all people in my stream to get Doctor Who references. So I feel like if someone is in my stream who doesn't get Doctor Who references, I want them to become, through engaging in my stream, people who get Doctor Who references. So, Secret Agent Barbie by Vivendi Games. That is exciting. That I like would totally play that. Yeah, so if anybody has any other pressing things, I will talk some more. I have said so many things, and I don't know how much of a ponce I look like saying these things. Can I make this not? No, it's always scaled. I kind of wanted to squish me. I couldn't squish me though. It wouldn't let me squish me. That's too bad. I wanted to be squished. And right now I'm just killing time while I wait to see if anybody has a thing that they want to say, or talk about, or wants me to say, or talk about. Oh, usually this is behind. That's why. Oh, that way. There we go. Saying like this, in case it was, but Vivendi held Sierra and Blizzard titles, and then merged with Activision to become Activision Blizzard. Oh, I didn't see that earlier. Thank you, Cage Tiger. Like I appreciate it. Yeah. You're another person whose opinion I respect. So thank you. And Kelso. I always like it when people are thoughtful about stuff. Me too. It's my favorite thing. Yeah. Okay. So I think that is the stream. Aside from Vivendi and Sierra, if you're using OBS, you can crop your camera with, I think, Alt-Click Drag. I got lost in your voice and forgot to interact. So one of these days, the only thing that's stopping me right now is I just haven't gotten my USB hub out and set up. But I have mics galore. I could proximity voice your face off. So maybe one day. Anyway, yeah, thank you everyone for coming. This has been an unexpected delight. Now I'll just play some music, and then we'll be gone. Thanks again.